Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Where's My Sage? I'm Mike, and here's my wonderful co-host and partner on this show, Kristie London. And
good evening.
Welcome all of you guys to our show this evening. And folks are starting to come on in. And
awesome. Hello, everyone. How are you?
I'm wondering how everybody's doing this evening. I'm having one of those days today. I can't pronounce anything, which is nothing new.
Every day.
It's
I'm just kidding. No, it's every day.
we're just rocking it out today. It's been a crazy week, and I finally got back to work.
Yeah, it's been
finally got rid of the beard, and we're starting over again. Managed to get some time on some thermal this weekend, and found out that bears do poop in the woods, and when they do, they poop a lot. So it's
no comment.
It was crazy. Went out looking for some hair on Sunday and popped the tire on the Jeep. So investigation season has started again.
Wait a minute. You were finally allowed out after like 2 months of solitary, and now you're what?
Yeah. And God bless my boss. He came and bailed me out. It was like, hey, yeah, you're alive. Shave the beard and get back to work. And here's the tires fixed. So,
well, I have a bone to pick with him about the beard, and I think a lot of people do.
Yeah.
We want the beard. We want the beard.
Still telling me I look like a hippie from my hair.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. I mean, you military and whatever else guys have to, sport your look.
So, hello, Paul. You was out.
Hi.
Helped me get or was with me when I got the flat tire and tried to fix it.
Partner in crime.
Yes. Ask Paul about the bear poop.
Yes.
Hi, hello, Melody. Hello, Tanya.
Thank you, Tanya.
The boss is back. See, they're all happy that you're back and not putting up with my crud all by myself.
The boss
Thank God.
Is back. Who said that?
Just saying you're back. Jimmy and Dee, thank God, got me through last week. Hello, Tanya.
Yes, they did a great job. They did. Thank you, Tanya.
Hi, Travis.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you for saying I look 10 years younger. I appreciate that. Hello, Christine. I know, Maxine. The beard is gone. Yep. Hello, Carrie. Carrie, thank you for sharing our stuff. Last Friday was more than I could bear. Yes. When you use a rangefinder and you're using it for animals, make sure the rangefinder is set for the right animal. I had it set for wolves and not bear.
Thank you, Tanya.
Paul decided to take a walk around the front of the car, and when we went back to the following day, what I thought was 145 yards was more like 75 yards. So it was almost a bear sandwich. Hey, Ray.
Right. Well,
yes, we are both kicking.
Ray.
Hello, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
Yes, I know we should vote on the beer. So
thank you very much.
It's been craziness. So
it's a long week, very long week. It's good to be back though. Starting to get back on a normal path.
So
kind of. It is a little weird seeing you with all the hair on top without all the hair here, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's strange. So
it's all right. It's all right.
So tonight we're not doing readings. We've got some great guests that we're going to be bringing on and talking some real cool history.
Yes,
but Kristie's got some.
I'm excited.
Some special announcements that she needs to cover, and I'm going to turn over. Stop talking. Let her talk a little bit. So I know you like the beard.
Okay, so let's take a poll, you guys. Come on, spread the word. Take a poll.
We need your bio, Carrie. We're going to bring you on.
Yes.
So,
all right. So I just wanted to take a few minutes because We just recently found out some information, and I just wanted to kind of share and try to help support the family a little bit. My son's best friend, actually, and is 21. And unfortunately, he just found out yesterday, I believe, that he's been diagnosed with stage 4 nodular Hodgkin's lymphoma. I had to say that correctly. So needless to say, we were all pretty devastated to hear that news. Brian's been around for a long time, and he and my son are very close, and his family they're wonderful people. So I just wanted to take some time, because they are trying to start a fundraiser and raise funds now, because unfortunately, even as new as all this is, the bills are already starting to roll in. So wanted to take the opportunity to try to help them out as much as we could. Cancer sucks. And so just wanted to put it out there. His name is Brian Striffler, and his mother's name is Donna Striffler, and she has purchased bracelets to raise money. Sorry, here I go. To raise money to help with his bills. So the bracelets are going to be $5. Mike, do you want to put that picture up for me, please?
I shall do that.
Thank you. They are on the way. Like I said, this happened real fast. So she already has the order in. They're just not here yet, but she showed me this huge list. She's got this huge list of people who have either already paid or people who are on the list to get one when they come in, and will pay when it comes in. However you want to do it. They have Venmo. There's also, can you put her, there she is. So if you want to find her in Venmo, you can do that as well. And you can leave, she said, your information right there, like where she can send it. And you can communicate with her right there on that site. So you can make all the arrangements. If anybody wants to donate, whether it's, just give a donation, whether it's buying a bracelet just to be supportive, and to support the cause in general, that would be wonderful. And if you are uncomfortable reaching out to the Striffler family, you are certainly welcome to reach out to me, and I will be happy to be a liaison and go-between, whatever you want to call me, to help make those connections and do that as well. So we will maybe pop those up a little later, but I will definitely put those on, put that information up on our page coming up here probably tomorrow.
That'll be our Facebook Where's My Sage page.
Yeah, for sure. So thanks guys for listening. And, I know it's hard when it affects us all. Personally, we can't donate to everybody all the time. So please don't feel obligated. But if you can, even just a few dollars, he's a good kid. It's a good family. And he's been ever so lovingly dubbed Food Brian by my youngest, because she grew up while they were in high school. And, every time he came to my house, he'd always have food, some sort of takeout. He just always had food. And so she just dubbed him Food Brian. And he's like this skinny stick. And you'll appreciate this, Mike and Jenna. He also went to culinary school. So yeah, good kid. He's like one of my own. I have many adopted children from my older two. So yeah. So thanks for listening, everybody. And thanks for giving me that minute to help the family. So, all right. So now, we have some pretty awesome guests tonight, right?
Yep. I mean, just
sure? You're like, maybe.
No. Just doing a quick little.
I put you on the spot.
Just doing a quick little mental is. It just wanted to catch. Hi Ed. Hi Michelle. Hi Jay. Jay again for both of us. Kristie. For Peggy and Kristie. Folks, the big thing. Please like, share, subscribe. And before I completely forgot about it, we are running that subscriber giveaway over on our YouTube and our Facebook. So again, when we hit the numbers that we're trying to hit, we're going to be giving some stuff away. So when we hit 500 subscribers on our YouTube and our Instagram together, and I'm taking everybody's names down as they're coming in. I can see those. We're going to be first for 500. We're going to be for one lucky viewer. We're going to be giving away a Bigfoot research kit. And it's got, a headlight and some binoculars and notepads and the basic stuff to get started. When we hit 750 subscribers, we've got a small little paranormal kit that has a sling bag and flashlights and the old mag lights that a lot of folks like to use with tricks. Last week, we talked about that with camera stands. when we hit 1,000, we'll be giving away X8 Tactical Morgan fixed blade knife that's actually designed and made by me. So those things are there. So please go over to our YouTube channel, subscribe, like, follow, because we're going to be doing some shows coming up, and I just want to make sure you guys are catching our shows. So, so thank you that everybody's there.
Yeah. Did you see that?
Yeah. Because the beer, there's no more anymore. Yeah. Yeah. My brain cells are shot. So
I'm not saying a word.
She's just happy. So everybody's there. So thank you. All right. So let's introduce our guests, because they are the important people of the hour tonight.
So. And they're great. Oh, we could talk to them for days.
We are not doing readings tonight, guys. That's the other thing. Oh, and one other thing, we're now on Amazon Music. So you don't catch the rest of the show, we're on Amazon Music. So we're on 21 different platforms at this time. So
we're slowly climbing the ladder. Yay. Yep. All right. So tonight we have some really, really cool people to talk to. These gentlemen are very busy and they have a lot of experience, and they've come together and they do some pretty cool things. They are Greater Boston Paranormal Associates, Mr. Don DeCristofaro and Pat Connors. They actually run tours on the USS Salem in Boston, and God only knows this universe, for whatever reason, does not want me to get there. I mean, every time we try to plan, and we do plan, something comes up and it's legitimate, and I have to go, Don, you're going to kill me again. You're going to kill me. And this was the worst one. And this was the worst year. You know, I think we changed it. There he is. Hi, Don. Hi, Pat. Hey, welcome to the show.
Hi, Mike. How you guys doing?
Hello.
Oh, good. Thanks for joining
us. I'm gonna say hi, Kristie. Mike, I'm pretty sure you were shaking your head when she said great guests.
Yes.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure you were. Pat, I think you were.
I think that's an affirmative. Yeah.
Hey,
I like these guys.
I'm gonna hide behind my mug.
Oh, nice. I like it. Hey, before we get started, why don't we say that the Greater Boston Paranormal Associates is going to buy 10 bracelets for Brian Stifler, and any other paranormal group that's listening or watching, we would challenge you to match us or better us.
Thank you, guys.
You're killing me. Thank you so much. Listen, I've cried enough this week.
Oh, that wasn't my intention. But
thank you very, very much.
You just hate hearing that.
Oh my goodness. That was beautiful. Thank you. Wow.
Now Pat's going to start crying.
Yeah. Okay, so all right. So now you got me at a loss for words. Oh my goodness.
That's what we were shooting for.
Who? Oh yeah.
It's done. So how did you guys get involved in the paranormal?
Good, Don.
Oh no, Pat, we're going to get started with you today.
Hey,
oh, me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Well, I got an interest when I was a kid watching the paranormal shows In Search of and Unsolved Mysteries, stuff like that. That kind of got me into the paranormal right there. And I really didn't start exploring places probably until I was in the military, probably around 1989 or so. Huh. So I was stationed in England, and I used to go around to all the sites that I'd read in all the books that come out about paranormal places in England. So that's actually where I caught my first spirit on. I had an old 110 camera, you know, where they actually use film.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And I snapped a shot. I snapped a shot at a castle, but all that was left was one wall. I snapped a shot, and later on developed it, and there was a little girl in front of that wall.
Very cool.
And it was amazing. I sent it. I think I sent it into Paranormal New England that researched photos, and they said they validated it, and they said that you couldn't screw with 110 film, so you couldn't fake it. So yeah, it was pretty cool. So right after that, I think when I caught that really piqued my interest more into the paranormal. And
what branch
later
of the military
on,
were you in? Sorry, what branch of the military were you in?
I was in the Air Force.
Yes.
It's a little bit above the Navy.
Partial to the Air Force, although we have friends in all branches.
I was trying so hard to be polite and not say anything.
Hey, listen, you guys all come over eventually. Come over to the Air Force eventually. Sorry, go ahead, carry on.
So when I got out of the military, at that time, I think I researched online and found a few groups, called up one of them and talked to the person. And we went on an investigation at Hanson Music. And no, I'm sorry, it was Priority Music in Hanson. And that was my first investigation, and it was amazing. It was a haunted place. As far as I know, it's shut now and it's just abandoned. But yeah, it's pretty amazing. Amazing occurrence happened there. So yeah, that got me interested. But like most groups, it dissolved, and it was until later on into the 2005, 2006, I think, is when I went to the USS Salem and checked that out. And that's when I met Don.
That's great.
Yeah,
that's great.
That's right.
What about you?
Okay,
Mr.
they start
Don?
They start the drinking games when I mute myself, and I did it. So there's the first one for the evening.
This is one of those shows.
Yeah,
They were more fun when he was worse at it.
Not me. I'm drinking water, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Only way people can put up with me.
How about you, Don? What is your background, and how did you come into the paranormal and get involved?
Very similar to Pat, I guess. I mean, unlike a lot of investigators, I never had any experience or anything along those lines when I was young. But for whatever reason, while my friends were reading Kidnapped and Tale of Two Cities, I was reading Hans Holzer's Ghost Hunter. And that's, like I said, while my friends were interested in those stories, I was reading about Jeff the Talking Mongoose and the Borley Rectory. So, over time, that interest just grew. And I often tell people, I think I was about 15, and my brother gave me a copy of The Mothman Prophecies by John Keel. And that was the end of that, man. That was down the rabbit hole for good, and because that's, Keel was a little bit of everything. So, and I never really did much of anything other than cemeteries until I heard about the Salem and went for a meeting of a group that never really got off the ground. But I met Pat, and, we joined a group, kind of forced into a group from there, and later split off and decided we could do it right ourselves. And I think that's what we're doing now.
Are you a big Mothman guy?
Yeah, I am. Well, I'm a big John Keel guy.
Okay.
And of course, Mothman is a huge part of that.
Okay.
But Keel, he was one of those guys. Our podcast, which is still in its infancy, was called Out There, and Keel, I think, is the personification of out there. A little bit of everything, like I said. So yeah, I guess you could say I'm a big Mothman.
I just find it ironic that you brought it up, because my friend Seth just released a brand new Mothman thing today. So
Right.
it's kind of
no kidding.
Just ironic. Yeah.
There you go. It is coincidental. I like
small
it.
town. Yeah. So
I like it.
Ironically that you brought
Great
that
minds
up.
think alike.
Yeah. So
Great minds is right.
the universe again doing its strange stuff.
That's right. That's awesome. Wow. And you too have a Navy background, don't you? Or you have a military background and you were in the Navy.
Navy. Yep. I was a submarine guy, so certainly nothing like the Salem, but yeah, I did my time in the Navy, which everybody knows is a step above the Air Force.
Airplanes are above you, man.
Gotta love it.
I know
That's
Ray's
wonderful.
out there. I feel it coming.
I know, right? I know. Be careful, he may shoot. Oh, excuse me. So I just think it's neat that, the universe works in mysterious ways. And so when we're called to do things and called to meet people and called to be involved in different situations, I think it's amazing how those things happen, because the connections that we make and the paths we take in our life and the things we learn and the things we experience change us. And, that's how we grow. And I just think that's really neat. And sometimes we don't realize when those things are happening until you can look back a ways and say, oh yeah, hey, because I feel like,
that happened.
yeah. I just think that's, it's all part of it.
Yep. No,
It's
I
so
agree with
important.
you. I agree with
So
you. And Pat and I we've been together quite some time now. And, I think we work pretty well together because he's on the stoic side and I'm a little bit more excitable. And every paranormal group certainly needs somebody who's, we could be, and I tell people this all the time, we could be sitting in a room and things could be flying off the walls and hitting us in the head. And Pat would be saying, well, yeah, but I think maybe
like
that's a little
bit
tilted and there's a little bit of a breeze. And,
Yeah.
That's funny.
It's not a
So
ghost, it's old man Jones.
Yeah, right. That's great. That's
Oh,
right.
my
So we've done pretty well together over the years.
That's great. Hold it, Mike. There you go.
So, as soon as you started laughing, I knew what was going on. You think I've done this for a year? I know what I was doing. What drew you both to the Salem?
For me, actually, I brought my kid and his friend to the Salem one time, and I explored the whole thing. Nobody's aboard. It's a really cool place to go, even if you're not into the paranormal. There's all kinds of nooks, crannies, dark places. Really cool place to check out. Yeah. Hey.
Someday, man. Someday.
You've only had about 9,000 opportunities, so
I know.
You get no more sympathy from us.
I know.
We're banned from.
I know.
That ship has sailed, so to speak.
My brother.
Oh, that one just like right there.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
So later on, yeah, like I said, I was looking up different places as far as paranormal groups go, and I just happened to notice that this place was advertised, and it was 2 miles away from me. So I gave them a call, and they said, "Yeah, come on and join us in a meeting." And so I went there, and kind of haven't looked back, really. So.
What drew you in to stay? What made you want to stick around for the ship, especially that as opposed to other places?
It was just a great place. It was a great base. Okay, all right. Sorry, this is Squigs. It was a great base. Sorry.
We all have them. That's okay.
Okay, all right, Squigs. He's excited.
Mine will be down this way in a few.
Yeah, but that's his son.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Quinn.
Yeah, not anymore. Sorry. Yeah. So we did a few investigations aboard, and I kind of got stuck there. Dawn joined, and we kind of connected right away. And I kind of saw through some, good times and bad times. And like Don said, he finally came up with the idea of going out on our own, and it just drew us, and we got drawn back to the Salem because we were kind of on our own for a while. But yeah. Does that sound right, Don?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know whether I supposed to jump in or I was
jump in anytime you want.
Yeah.
Please
it's like
do.
A giant food fight. Just throw it. We'll hit something on the wall.
Just throw in. I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's right. We, and that's right. The ship is just such a great location. And to have the opportunity to go there and even, I posted something on Facebook the other day when I was just wandering around the ship and I was topside, and I posted something about how fortunate just to be able to wander around a location like that. No ghost hunting involved. Just to be able to walk around. What a spectacular historic location it is. And the paranormal, of course, just makes it that much better. But yeah, we started off there, and we were kind of exiled for a little while, but we were called back, and things have just been going great aboard the ship. We're just we just couldn't be happier with the way things are going at this point aboard Salem.
That's great. So tell us about it. Give us a little bit of a background in the history for people who don't know and have never heard of or aren't familiar with, the USS Salem. What's that all about?
I'll let Don talk. He's the ship historian. So,
yeah, the Salem. The Salem is at Quincy. Quincy's old Fall River shipyard. It was brought back there in 1993, and I say brought back there because the ship was built about I'm going to say about 100 yards from where she sits today. She was commissioned in 1949 and decommissioned in 1959, which is that's a pretty short period of time for a Navy ship, but it was purely that. It was just a matter of timing. She was the last all-gun ship the Navy ever had, and she just wasn't built for chasing submarines around. And by 1959, really, that's the way the Navy had gone. So she basically just outlived her usefulness. But for that 10 years, she was a huge part of the United States Navy. She was the flagship of the Sixth Fleet in the Mediterranean for most of her career. And that's a matter of showing, waving the flag around the world and basically showing everybody in that region that you screw with America at your peril. In fact, she was supposed to be decommissioned in 1958, but the Prime Minister of Lebanon was afraid of a coup, and he asked the President of the United States specifically to leave the Salem in the Mediterranean for an extra 8 months because he felt that much safer with the Salem steaming back and forth off the coast. So, she was a force. There's no question about it. Now she's the only heavy cruiser left. The others, she had two sister ships, both of which are in mothballs. So the Salem is the only heavy cruiser left available for people to visit, and we're very, very lucky to have her. The museum spaces are beautiful.
Just the pictures you post are gorgeous. The ship is magnificent.
It really is.
Yeah.
And we've been blessed. We have some people in our group. Eva Nagy is one. Brian Gardy, who really know what they're doing with a camera. So we've been very fortunate in terms of the pictures that we can post of Salem. So the other thing, and I tell people this all the time is, Salem never saw any combat. And the idea that she never saw any combat is amazing when you consider how much death the ship saw over the course of her 10 years in service. In 1953, while she was in the Mediterranean, there was a very bad earthquake on one of the Ionian Islands off Greece, and the Salem was the hospital for all intent and purposes. So all of the people that were hurt in the earthquake were all brought aboard Salem for treatment, and a lot of them died aboard the ship. She could only stay for a very short period of time because she, a Navy ship's not built for that. She wasn't a hospital ship. She didn't have medical supplies or food or really even fresh water to stay for any real period of time.
Wow.
And then when she came home, rather than come home to Boston, she went to Brooklyn to the shipyard for an upgrade. And while she was there, the ship that was tied up alongside of the Salem had an explosion in one of her ammunition magazines.
Wow.
She was a smaller ship than the Salem. She was a light cruiser, but she was similar in design, and that magazine happened to be right next to the hospital. So when the magazine went, it took the hospital, and all of those guys were brought aboard the Salem, excuse me, for treatment as well. And a number of those guys died aboard Salem. And amazingly, about 2 years later, on the way to Europe to start her next tour of the Med, a destroyer sailing alongside of her, the John R. Pierce, also had a gun mount explosion. And those guys were brought aboard Salem, and a number of those guys died aboard the ship as well. So, the number is pretty high. The number is in the 90 area in terms of death count, and that's a lot of people in a pretty compact area. And Pat will back me up in saying that a lot of those people are still aboard the ship as we speak.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, we can't wait to hear some of the stories that you're going to share with us tonight. And I know you have sent some pictures in and some audio, right?
Yep.
That's amazing. I can't wait. So everybody, thanks for tuning in. If you're just tuning in with us now, we have Don and Pat here tonight, and we're going to be talking about the USS Salem in Boston. Excuse me, Quincy, you said, right?
Quincy.
Thank you. I'm getting it. And, some of the other things that your group does as well. So don't feel free to ask questions in the chat room. We'll be happy to ask the questions for you, and they'll be happy to answer for you as well about anything, about any of their investigations, their group, the USS Salem, and whatever you'd like. I met Don on an investigation myself. So, there's a lot of different things that we do and that these guys
That's a pretty good story too.
Oh my God. Talk about it almost giving me a heart attack. Yes, it does. Let's go back to Hinsdale.
Yeah, let's go back to Hinsdale before we get into the. We all need a good laugh. And hello, picking on me that I'm Godzilla.
Oh yeah, sure.
But yeah.
It was actually the same night that I met Mike for the first time on an investigation. It was the same one.
Yes.
It was a very fateful night. I just had no idea what it was in store for me.
What's going to happen?
Oh my gosh. I wouldn't have it any other way. Look at the great people I met.
The perils of wandering around old houses in the dark. That's where it goes.
Right. I'm a medium. I'm supposed to do that. But who says you're supposed to? Well, you are supposed to sit in the dark.
I was just going to say, which reminds me, how did you not know that I was there already?
Oh, boom.
Didn't see that coming, did you?
Oh, Don. Come on, you got to hit me with something better than that. Come on.
All right, okay. Well, we still got a little while to go.
Oh, no, but it was funny. That was a good night. So for those of you who are familiar with the Hinsdale House in Hinsdale, New York, I was on the investigation with a bunch of, it was not an open investigation. It was just more with people who have done this before. So we were kind of off doing our own things and in small groups. And so at one point I became brave and just kind of went off it was my first time in Hinsdale, and Dan class always, bust my chops about the whole, how long it took me to get there in the first place. So, walking up the stairs, I didn't know anybody was upstairs, and I didn't know anybody on this investigation either. I was by myself coming into this group. So, here I'm coming up the stairs, and if you're familiar with Hinsdale, you get up to the top of the steps, and literally there's nothing. You either go right and you step into a room, or you go left and you step into a room, and that's it. So even when you're coming out of those rooms, you got to be careful because you're right on top of the staircase. That's all there is. So So here I come up to the stairs, and I'm thinking I'm hearing something, but not really. And I'm like, I'm trying to really hone in on everything. And I just happen to turn and look, and I peed my pants legitimately. Because to my right in this pitch black room was this dude sitting on the bed.
And again, in my defense, I heard you coming up the stairs, and I sat there thinking, how do I shave the odds of giving this woman a heart attack? Do I say something now while she's on the stairs and make her jump and just fall backwards down the stairs, or do I just sit here and let her walk into the room and see me sitting there, which ultimately is what I chose to do, I think.
Right. I know there's no handrail. There's nothing. Like, my options were really limited in that spot. So, because
it's a tiny room too. That room to the right, it's a tiny room. It's just a whole lot bigger than the bed.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Right,
the bigger room was to the left.
Yeah.
That was funny. That was great. And here we are, right? We struck up a conversation, and it's all history from there.
There you go.
So, yes, very grateful, my friend.
We've been back twice now to Hinsdale.
Yeah.
We've been there 3 times now.
Cool.
Yes. Yeah.
I can't get away from the place.
No, it's one of those places, and Pat, I think Pat will say the same thing. We've never. Well, I'm not going to say we got a whole lot of concrete evidence from Hinsdale, but many of us seem to be drawn back there.
Yep.
We have one member who'll never go back there, Suzanne.
Oh,
she'll never go back there so because of what happened to her the last time she was there. She'll never go back.
Yeah.
But some of us just seem to be drawn. We just seem to be drawn there. I don't know. Last time we were there, we had a great time because the weather was nice. Finally.
Yeah.
So we spent a lot of time up on the hill and out by the pond. They had finished the path all the way around the pond.
Oh, yes. Last time we were there, the path was done as well. Yeah.
Not quite all the way around the pond, maybe about 3/4 of the way, but yeah.
That's right. Not quite all the way around, right? That's right. Wow. But yeah, we had a great time last time we were there. We love it there.
Yeah. It's so beautiful. It really is. Yeah. That those woods can either make every hair on the back of your neck stand up, or it can be the most peaceful feeling in the world. It just depends on how the energy is when you get there that day.
Yeah, I've always been creeped out up there myself, but I suppose they can be peaceful. The energy. I never felt that way myself, but
I've always found it very comfortable up there.
Yeah, right.
Except once.
Yeah. Oh yes,
it's that one time. So there's a question from the chat. I do believe this, but doesn't the water and the age of the ship lend itself to all kinds of noises and sounds?
Oh, sure.
Oh, you know what? I can post this. Let me
hello. You're right. Whoever posted about the brain cells, you're right. No.
Yeah. Shaved them right off.
The gangway, and it takes surprisingly little movement of the water to make the ship move, which is amazing it's 719 feet long. It's got a beam of about 70 feet. So she's a big girl, but it takes surprisingly little motion in the water to make her move.
I'm surprised.
The gangway moves and the ship itself. There are creaks and and stuff. And that's stuff that I think that's an advantage we have in having been aboard the ship so long. We really got a pretty good idea.
How many hours do you have logged on the ship? You're rough. How many? We're talking years.
John lives on the ship.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've spent a lot of time on the ship. I mean, I go back. There are times, and the management of the ship has been so great this year in particular. We have an office aboard the ship, and so there are a lot of times I'll swing up to play with gear and stuff like that, even when there's nobody there. So yeah, I got a lot of hours on the ship, Mike. I've never really given it a whole lot of thought in terms of quantifying it, but it would be a big number.
But you're there enough. It becomes your second home, and you get used to the natural sounds of a piece of equipment. Yeah. The certain it just isn't there, and it's an interesting comment you made mention of your tours and your equipment. You guys do a lot of public tours where you help people learn the equipment. Is that correct? And get out there and use that. So, I mean, it's not like a lot of other investigations where you go places and you got to bring 12,000 pounds of stuff. You guys have stuff, correct?
We and that's when I said, Pat and I, we decided at some point that we could do things right. I think that's one of the things that we do very, very well. When we have groups, we try to limit our public investigations to under 25 people. Once you get to 25, it becomes a little unmanageable in terms of the number of folks. But, you split them into groups, smaller groups. And we have what we call guest kits. And each of the smaller group gets a guest kit. And that guest kit has all the basic stuff in it, K2 and grid laser and EMF detector and digital audio, with headphones, and we try as hard as we can to make the guests feel as though they're the investigators and they're doing their investigation. The guide that's with them or guides that are with their group, obviously they have a little bit more complicated stuff to make things a little interesting. But yeah, the guests all use the equipment themselves, and we dish it out and pass it around, and they all have a great time. They enjoy doing it, and I think they really love being part of it, as opposed to just kind of sitting there watching other people do it.
Did you see my light when you said that? Went way down and then it came back up real bright. So I think you're right. I think you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
What's that?
I thought you did that.
No.
I saw you do that.
This is actually, I had taken that down, and I don't know if you guys can see, there's a salt lamp. And for a while, I had moved stuff around and taken the lamp down. And I had people actually say, you need to put the lamp back. And my mom actually said to me the one time, you need to put that back, because it is really cool to watch, because especially when I'm doing reading shows, the validation we get just from from the lamp back here is it's so cool. Yeah. And when people are talking, our guests are talking, you're saying something, you get validation just with the light. Yeah. And I can hear my husband and my daughter. They're in the living room, not doing anything that would make anything surge right now.
I'll pay more attention, because I've watched, but I've never really noticed.
Yep.
Anyway, we've tried different computers and everything else. So
yeah, right. So there you go, John Swan. Is that right?
Yeah, just to add on to what Don said.
You're right. Go ahead, Pat. I'm sorry.
It's usually for public investigations. It's usually people who've never investigated before, or novice investigators, and the paranormal groups, tend to go with like a private investigation, or maybe they'll get together. But it's usually for the public. It seems like it's more novice or first time investigating.
But
you're just checking it out.
And John says, thank you. Again, tonight we're coming at you from Kristie's page, WLFE-DB Radio. Where's My Sage on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Twitch. Tomorrow we will be on all your favorite podcast selections. So if you got to tune out for some reason, Google us, and you are gonna, well, maybe don't use Google now after today, but go ahead and do a quick search on our favorite podcast. You're gonna find us on iTunes and everything. So just letting you guys know. So you're giving them a history lesson on the spirit, and then you're giving them a history on the boat. So it's really a full blown experience.
Yeah. Yep.
And
yep. Like I say, people really seem happy when they leave, which of course is what it's all about for us. The satisfaction of seeing these folks leave, just thrilled with their experience. And of course it helps that it is a very, very rare night when people don't leave having seen or heard something that leaves them shaking their heads. I mean, very, very rare. More so lately than has been in the past, I think.
Why do you think that is?
Well, yeah, Pat, see Pat's face. We're
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've said in certain terms, the spirits on board that their participation advances the ship as far as getting donations. So maybe they're listening. I don't know, but I'm not really sure.
We and clearly it's something that we've talked about. And there have been a number of things have happened on the ship that may have precipitated the activity increasing a little bit. And it's been kind of roller coaster like in that respect. But things are more active than ever now. And seemingly, one of the great things about the ship is that anything can happen anywhere. I mean, obviously there are rooms and areas that are more active than others, obviously, but really you're just as likely to see a shadow run by you in a passageway up forward by the anchor windlass room as you are on the opposite side of the ship, way back aft by the crew's mess. It's unbelievable. We had a guy aboard this past weekend, and you may have heard of him, a guy by the name of Elton Casti, who is he's a YouTube guy, and he reached out and asked about doing a few hours on the ship. He has a series on YouTube called Overnight Videos. And when I looked him up, I was amazed. I mean, he's done the Queen Mary. He did the catacombs in Paris. He's done some major league locations. So he was aboard Saturday night. And I got to tell you, he left absolutely flummoxed as to the things he saw and heard. Oh, yeah. One of the, two of our girls were their guides. Two of the young women in our group were the guides for Elton's crew. And one of them came to me and said something about Elton catching me on camera up by the hospital as I was going to the wardroom. And I said, well, that's interesting because I haven't left the office the whole night. I almost went back aft to lock up a hatch, but I didn't go because I didn't want to walk into their shot.
Right.
And he sent us a picture later on that is amazing. Yeah. Of a shadow that appears to be standing by one of the gun turrets, watching them as they leave.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's form. Unbelievable. Yeah, full form. It's unbelievable. So he's gonna that YouTube video is gonna be posted. I think he said the 27th.
Yeah.
It should be something else. It should be something else.
Wait to see it. So if someone was going to sign up to do, go on a tour of the ship, walk me through it. So when we get there, what happens? Take me from start to finish.
You want to do it, Pat?
Or do you not want to give that information away?
No, of course.
Is it classified? No.
Of course. No, of course. It's, and I mean, it's we have it down pat pretty good by this time.
I'm sure.
Once we get everybody aboard, we give them, well, needless to say, first, they sign the inevitable and dreaded waivers.
Oh, of course. Yes. Yeah.
And along with that, of course, they get the safety lecture. The ship is a dangerous place, and I'm not talking about ghosts now. It's open hatches and things to bang your head on and things of that nature. It can be a dangerous place.
Dawn has seen the floor a few times, and I have too. Intimate floor.
That's hard. Oof.
How are those DVPs?
No. I don't think any of those precious moments are caught on video or audio. And if they were on audio, we wouldn't be able to play them here. I can promise you that.
No, we have a special button for that.
I can only imagine.
What's funny is that I'm at the point now where I don't really use a flashlight on the ship anymore.
Really?
And no, I know it well enough. And the truth of the matter is, without letting a cat out of the bag here, it's just a long straight line, and there's a big yellow stripe down the middle of the deck. So, Mike, you'd know from prison, you just follow the yellow line,
But there's a yellow brick road on the way.
Yeah. Yeah, but there are those knockers, and if you're going a little faster than you should, you can very easily find yourself face planted without a whole lot of difficulty.
Ooh, that's never a pleasant experience.
No, it's not.
See, I would probably need a flashlight. I can walk into a doorway.
Well, that would be the smart thing to do. But the truth is, all of a sudden, I a lot of times just find myself without one. Which is like Ghost Hunter. I'm not even going to say 101. Whatever is before that. If you look at on our website, we have Ghost Hunting 101, and I think the first bullet on it is, "Hey, stupid, flashlights are cheap."
And we're gonna put your group's website up right now. That'll be in the comments. Right. So let me put that drop that in there, and there's a question in there. Right. If you saw that.
So in any event, we give the safety talk, and then we talk the history of the ship, who's aboard, etc. And then we do a tour with the lights on to show everybody, just to give everybody an idea of the size of the ship and the hot spots. A lot of times, if it's a group that's booked the ship to do an investigation, some of them, of course, don't want to do the hot spots, which is a seasoned investigator a lot of times doesn't want to know what to expect in a given area. He wants to see whatever they see. So that's cool. But we do that, and then generally once we get back up to the wardroom, which is where the officers ate and had meetings, it's the best meeting space really on the ship. The gang will break up.
One of the more haunted places on the ship too.
Yeah, and one of the more active areas of the ship as well. Yeah, the gang will break up the group into smaller groups, dish out equipment while I go turn out all the lights.
Wow!
And then when I get back, we get down to business. And that's the spiel. It's really the same all the time. So.
That's cool. And, for anyone who has not been on a battleship, my very first investigation ever, and I didn't even really truly understand what I was doing. It was just friends of mine who had done it before, even though I was doing my thing as a medium. Paranormal investigations weren't anything I was drawn to or interested in until later. And so when friends of mine at the time said, yeah, come on and do this, we're going on the USS Salem in Buffalo. And we went on all 3, 4, we were on all of them. And it was, wow, the ships are crazy amazing. I don't even know how to really describe them. It is a different experience than going to like a Statler or a haunted house or something. It really is a whole different, it's its own world, it's just so different. Yeah, it's just
so. Chris Sanders is Chris is going to be aboard the ship next weekend.
Oh, hey, Chris. Yeah. Oh, neat. Oh, good. See, everyone's getting there, and I got to get there.
You know,
Chris-
I love being essential and not allowed to go anywhere.
Chris and his gang were aboard. I can't even remember, back in August, I think. And I'm going to say that was a Saturday night, and I'm going to say Sunday he texted me and asked me if we had any nights available when they could come back.
I'll bet.
Yeah, that was all when we were all supposed to be in Pennsylvania, and that
right. That's exactly right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
oh my goodness.
Exactly right. So Chris and his crew will be back next weekend. We're looking forward to having him back again. That was a great night. We had a great time.
Lots of pictures, Chris.
Yeah. So he got touched, I believe. He got touched on.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, down in the birthing area.
Down in one of the birthing areas. Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Down in one of the what areas?
Birthing, cruise birthing. See,
where they sleep.
This is one of my pet peeves, because there were babies born on the ship. You have a surgical room where babies were birthed, birth.
Okay.
But where the crew slept were in the birthing areas, berthin.
Oh, and then we throw in New England accent, and then I'm completely lost.
That's why I wanted to make sure.
What do you mean?
The same as the Rochester accent. Nobody can understand me either.
Here's where you're mistaken. You see, we don't have accents.
Everybody else does.
We have.
We're from Boston. We're the originals.
Okay.
I like that.
Everyone else has an accent.
Love it. That's right.
I knew I should have gone to Boston University instead of Brockport.
Well, there you go. So is there a question from the audience?
Yes, there is.
Awesome.
Let's see. This is from Denise. Do you think the spirits, sailors from other ships are drawn to this ship?
Oh, good question.
That is a good question. I don't know about other ships. I will say that we've started to become aware, or started to form the opinion that maybe guys from the shipyard have been drawn to the ship. The shipyard where the Salem is over 100 years old itself. I worked there in the mid 80s, and the shipyard's 100th anniversary took place while I was there. So it's seen, it's got quite a number of stories of its own. And we are of the opinion that there are guys from the shipyard who have been drawn to the ship. We certainly think there are sailors aboard Salem that didn't die aboard Salem, but who served aboard the ship. So I guess I've got to say, Denise, I guess I've got to say, I don't know. I don't know. It's certainly possible based on the other entities that have been drawn to the ship, but I can't say that we're aware of any specifically. Pat, that sound right to you?
That sounds right to me. I don't think we know. I think we know that at least one spirit aboard the ship is definitely from the ship, has served aboard the ship. Absolutely. But as far as the other spirits go, whether they're from victims from the earthquake that died aboard, I guess we could say that because different psychics have said that they've seen children. So the only way they'd be aboard is from that earthquake.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Thank you so much for your question, Denise. All right, we're going to take
Denise, my father was a gunner as well, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, how cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
neat. My dad was a gunner's mate. He was a gunner's mate as well.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. I think it's a cool job. It just sounds like, I know considering the times and but because we don't do things like that anymore, I just have an appreciation for different. I think I was born in the wrong time, to be honest with you. I think there's just a different appreciation and a different way of looking at things back in the day. You know what I mean?
No question about that.
Yeah.
I tell you what, though, if you were claustrophobic, you might have a different opinion there.
True.
Very tight spaces that they were in to load the guns. Absolutely.
Oh boy. Wow. All right. And we're going to take a quick short break on that note. While we're showing our commercial for WLFE DB Radio, please share and like our broadcast, subscribe to our YouTube page, Where's My Sage, and we will come back, get your questions ready, because we'll be back in just a minute with these wonderful gentlemen, and we will continue on for USS Salem.
We got some good video and audio coming up too.
So. Oh, yes. Yes. Oh, yeah. Lots to share. Yeah. Okay. All right. See
you
in a bit.
Hey everybody, this is Ted from Talk with Teddy and WLFE DB Radio Network. Let's talk about this network for a second. It's very unique and it has different shows with different topics that you won't hear anywhere else. First, let's say our shows cover a wide range of topics. Paranormal to horror, skeptical to believers, and all types of variety shows. You won't be disappointed. In fact, we found, not by the limitations of audio, that we have added video casting as well. Do yourself a favor and check out a show or two. The full schedule is lined up on WLFEDBradio.com. In fact, there are past shows as well that you can check out. So remember, WLFEDBradio.com. Now here's a few of the podcast hosts that also carry the WLFE DB Radio brand and shows. Our shows can be heard on Spreaker, Deezer, iHeart, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, and more. So check out WLFE-DB.com.
DB Radio. Okay, and we're back. We've got a couple other questions from the office. And
from the office? What?
From the audience. Wow. Man. I really can't talk today.
Hey.
So, Sally, no, this is in Quincy, Massachusetts.
Quincy,
the ship that I had mentioned was in Buffalo, the USS Sullivan. Yeah, but I was just making a comparison when I said that.
And is that the Sullivans?
Yes, the Sullivan brothers.
Yeah, the Sullivans.
They're very handsy, if I might. Yeah,
they really.
Yeah, they really are. Yeah.
Don't hold that against them.
Yeah, no, that was a really neat experience, especially since it was my first one. Ships, I'm telling you, ships are just an entirely different world. They are. They're a completely different experience, I think, than anything. I think anywhere where you live life and your whole world is that area or that space, jails are the same way, I think. Institutions, I think, are the same way. When you're really confined and you really are in a certain space with certain people for such a prolonged period of time and it's all you know, I think it just creates a different kind of energy. Even when you're alive, and that area you carry on.
I think you hit it on the head. We, one of the entities aboard the ship, we think is a guy who was stationed aboard the ship, who didn't die aboard the ship. But my thinking and it doesn't matter whether you're talking Navy or really any branch of the military. We all knew guys who, whatever horrendous circumstances they came from, or wherever they went once they get out of the service, that period of time was the best time of their life.
Oh, absolutely.
The ship in this case, the ship may have been home to this guy. It may have been the best home he ever knew. Right. And as a result, this is where he chose to come back to.
Right.
And we treat him with that. Well, I started to say we treat him with that kind of respect, but that's not always the case. He and I go back a long ways, and we have some pretty terse exchanges. But don't
you think that comes along with the territory too, though?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, I mean, it kind of is okay. Not, I mean, there's always a certain level of respect there. Is that fair to say?
Oh, no, we had, and it's so funny talking. It's nice talking to people who understand where you're coming from when you say, yeah, he and I had a conversation just last Friday night where I said to him, did you follow us all the way up here? And he said, yes. And I said, just felt like talking, did you? And he said, yes.
There you go. See?
And that's what happens. We're both Navy guys, and we started off kind of tough, but right. I think we've become kind of close at this point. I think he trusts me. He knows.
Right.
He knows that we're gonna do the right. We're gonna do the right thing by him for the most part.
Absolutely.
And that was a question from the audience. Actually, is have any spirits made regular contact with you during investigations?
Oh yeah, we have a number of we have a number of regulars. We have a number of people who we talk to regularly. This guy I was talking about, we think he's a chief, a cook, and I say cook because I'm not sure. I've never been able to clarify what they called them back then. They were stewards, they were cookmates, and they were some other things. When I was in, they were mess specialists. So I'm not sure exactly what his rate was, but we think he's a chief, and we think he worked back in the galley. And he's a regular.
Chief seems to come up a lot on spirit boxes, obelisks. So we just kind of made the connection that he's a chief.
So
we hear the word. Yeah, we do. We hear the word a lot. And then there were, the emotions. There's a guy by the name of Nico, a Greek gentleman who also didn't die aboard the ship, but we think his wife died during the earthquake. And I talked to him. I used dowsing rods to speak to him for the most part, and he seems as though he's looking for his wife. I know. I just feel terrible after I talk to him, because it's just, the vibe is just so sad. The energy is just so sad. But there are some others. There's a young girl named Lucy that we speak to, or that we see and hear regularly. I'll say. And then there are other entities that we think occasionally make believe they're Lucy.
And that's important for people to understand. No matter where you investigate, spirits lie. Unfortunately, you don't ever really know who you're dealing with, or if it is. Consistencies help us with that. But I mean, in the end, you just never know. And those nasty ones like to slip in there, and it's not nice. It's not nice.
No. And that's where you kind of walk the fine line. People don't like to provoke, and certainly that's not something that we do. But I know that I found myself, in a certain area saying, wait a minute, you're lying to us.
And there's actually a question that goes with that. So from Ludaski, he asks, are there any negative or aggressive entities on board?
Go, Pat.
There possibly could be. There might be.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
And from different psychics that have been on board, have said that there could be an entity on board that's not human, that could be an elemental force. But beyond that, as far as the regular spirits, I think spirits aren't aggressive, or I should say evil, but the spirits get annoyed. Would you say that, Don? Spirits do definitely get annoyed.
Yeah.
From maybe the way that people act, or what they do aboard the ship. So, because they have done a few things as far as scratching or touching. So, and when we, that's a whole other thing. But we used to have Ghost Ship Harbor that was on board the ship, a haunted house. But when they came aboard, I think that the spirits felt like having a haunted house on board was not the right thing to do. They didn't like it. So and they made themselves known while Ghost Ship Harbor was going on, and it wasn't in a friendly way.
Did they ever?
Yes. So I think that activity was not beneficial as far as the spirits go. Anyway, people had a great time aboard, but I think it was the worst time for the spirits.
And that's sad because you can tell, and you can, it's, people don't realize there's a certain level of respect and consideration that you need to show. I don't care if you walk into a jail that was full of murders. There's still it's still different. You can't walk in and try to bully and take over and say, oh, there goes my light and say, I'm in charge and you're going to talk to me. I've been on investigations, where unfortunately people do that in different places and it shuts it all down. And as a medium, they're going to talk to me if they want to, because they know you're not going to know they're talking to me. So I'm going to maybe get information that other people aren't. And it's sad when, I have to try to convince a spirit who doesn't need to take their time and energy, and use it on us to try to convince them to use it on us basically. And, sometimes it's hard enough on an investigation to just have them not want to use the equipment, but they will talk to us. They're willing to, they just don't want to make the lights light up. So I have to say, I know this is not as fun or it's not as exciting to see as, the lights, when the lights go off and the machinery or the equipment, all goes off, but they are talking to me and here's your answer, Sure. And so it's just, I don't know. I mean, you still have to remember, they don't have to talk to us. They don't have to interact with us.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
And a lot of them will, and they do. And I've even come across some situations where, especially like at the Statler, where you're talking just like with your, with the USS Salem, they go back a long ways. They're not used to modern ways of doing things. Some of them look at the equipment and they're intimidated, so they're not being difficult. They're just afraid, believe it or not. So if you just try other ways of doing things, you may get them to come right out or they may warm up to you. And Don, you mentioned earlier, trust is a huge, huge thing. I have been in with clients trying to get through and like give a message. And you know what? I had to earn the trust of the spirits that wanted to come forward before they would talk to me to give a message to their loved one. And people just don't ever see the other side of it, So it's really important to know though, because it makes all the difference in the world. Oh yeah. And it's funny. I talk about this chief that's back aft and the relationship we have. We had some investigators aboard not long ago, doing some TV stuff. And at one point they said to me, here's what we want you to do. We want you to get this guy's name. And I said, well, I don't know. I've been talking to him for 10 years and he's never told me his name yet. And they said, well, yeah, but we don't want you to provoke him, but we want you to be stern with him. And tell him to stop fooling around and to. So I said, yeah, okay. So they stood over on the other side of the room and I stood in this little alcove by the scullery where he tends to hang out. And the way the audio goes, I said, okay, Chief, stop screwing around. You've been screwing me around for 10 years. These people are just here tonight. So just give me your friggin' name and get it over with. Right.
And when they played me the audio the next day, you heard me say that. And then right after that, you heard, F you, Dawn. Except the whole word.
Yeah. All right. Where's your ticker when he says it? No.
There was no swearing there.
No, I was very good.
He's behaving you're making me look bad.
That's gotta be amazing because I'm being very, very good.
It was not a necessary ticker, and I gave Don and Pat permission to free flow.
Yeah, he did.
Yes.
So
throw the stuff at the wall, let it stick.
The TV people were like, "Yeah, you got a relationship, all right." And
yeah, that's huge.
But see, that was cool though, because he said that, and because I think at this stage of the game, he and I are two sailors, and
Exactly.
we have a tendency to treat each other that way.
Yes.
And he knows that he knows the difference.
You've
And to use the
established.
Yeah, he knows the difference.
Yeah. Pat, what about you? Is there anybody on the ship that you have established more of a rapport for? Because sometimes, I mean, spirit comes, they just prefer somebody over another, and it's just because your personalities, mesh better, or you have things in common. Are there any spirits that you have a better rapport with, or that you can, better communicate?
No, not really. I think I've countered like Dawn, probably the chief, and the third mess more than any other spirit. He seems to be the dominant spirit there,
right?
As far as that goes. So I've got more communication from him than anyone.
Very good.
He's like I said, he seems to be the just the keeper of the ship. Yeah, exactly. And he lets
take care of everyone.
He lets everybody know that.
Yeah, he does. We consider, we consider him to be the guardian of the ship to some degree. We know that, so he's always been cantankerous. He's always been a little bit on the angry side. And 20 different people will give you 20 different reasons why he's angry.
Right.
To me, the lazy ones say, well, he doesn't like women on the ship. But that's easy. I always kind of thought, in fact, one of the comments was along the same lines. I always thought he was just mad because he was working, and he was mad that nobody else was working.
Oh, I can see that right
there. Yep.
There you go. I saw that. That's what I always thought. I always thought he was working, and he was just pissed off that everybody else was just standing around.
Right.
But I got to tell you, go ahead.
I will say one thing about women is that they definitely get touched more than men. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. Oh, yes, they do.
Yeah.
There's no question about that.
Yeah.
But what we recently, and these are the kinds of things that, as long as we've been on the ship, and we had all this information, when somebody pointed something out and you find yourself saying, geez, what a dope I am. How did I not we knew all that? Why didn't we all put it together? This person suggested that back where the chief is, there's a room that's got a bunch of props from Ghost Ship Harbor. And we were told the chief is angry because all that stuff is there in the room, and he's concerned that we're going to do that Ghost Ship Harbor thing again. And he hates that stuff in that room. And when they told me that, and I thought, geez, like I said, we knew all that stuff. How did we not put that together? And we did an Estes session on the ship. I don't know, it's got to be a couple months now, maybe 8 weeks now, because we've tried to replicate it and we've never been able to do it. But one of the things that happened, it was amazing. One of the things that happened was, what was it, Pat? I asked, do you think you're the guardian of the ship? And this guy way down the passageway wearing headphones and blindfolded yelled out, effing costumes.
Yeah.
And I hadn't told anybody that. Pat was standing next to me, and Pat looked at me and said, what's the matter with you? And I said, what do you mean? He said, you look like you got punched in the stomach. And I said, I'll tell you later. Because I just couldn't believe it. And this was a guest. Even if he had heard the question, he would have had no idea what that answer meant.
Right.
Yeah,
that was
absolutely.
That's crazy.
Unbelievable session, and we've tried a number of times to replicate it, and we haven't been able to do it. The damn spirit boxes, echo boxes.
He might have been just the right person to do it.
It's all about the energy, and that could very well have been the case.
Yeah,
well, I mean, pick that guy if he's blindfolded and got headphones on. It's just perfect person to grab. You're not seeing
Right.
what everybody else. It's like, oh, yeah, here's a victim. Do you guys keep a written log so you can compare data with the stuff you collect, just to kind of, like a ship's log, no pun intended, but, just, big events or something like that. So you can say, hey, on this date, yeah, we had this contact. Just,
Right.
Yeah, we've got a pretty good record of that stuff. It's one of the many things that we're not as diligent about as we should be, because
it's not cataloged, so
not really, because it's one of those things. You finish up, it's 2:00 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
You put everything away, and then next thing you know, it's on to the next.
Yes.
So we try, but we're nowhere near as diligent as we ought to be. Fortunately, we all have excellent memories.
Yeah. I just want to just break in here for 1 second and just remind everybody, because I saw a couple of questions for me in here. Tonight is not a reading show. I apologize, but actually November 3rd is a reading show. So if you could save your questions for November 3rd, we will be doing spirit messages then. Tonight we have Don and Pat, and we are talking about the USS Salem and the different experiences on the ship there, as well as some of the other things that they've done with their group. So welcome for everybody who's joining us now. We have some footage and some pictures, right? And some things that we want to share with everybody. So guys, tell us about these experience. Yeah. Share these stories with us and let us in on some of these cool experiences.
Well, which one would you like to start with?
Pat can describe them, but I got to tell you, one of the great things about audio on the ship is that it tends to be really contextual.
Really?
Like
why?
Like we have when you're talking about really great audio, like Class A audio, very, very little of it is random. It's almost always like part of the conversation.
It's an intelligent spirit.
Oh, it's almost there's almost always great context, which to me makes it a step above Class A, whatever the heck that is. But
A+.
Yeah, go ahead, Pat. He's got some of the best ones.
Which one would you like to start with? Got him here. No, how or crib?
I don't know what how is.
How I know how.
How? Okay. How? You know how?
Well, good, because I'm baffled.
Love these guys.
So to set this up, me, Don, and Riley Black. Yeah. Okay.
Oh no!
I'm sorry.
I'm going to bring it up. I didn't hit the mute button. Right.
Mike did a Mike thing.
All right. I'm like, what the heck was that? That was kind of scary.
To set it up, yeah.
There it is. So go ahead, Pat. Set us up before he plays us. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. So, we're outside of surgery with Riley Black, who is part of the group. She moved down to Florida, but we could still consider her part of the group. Cool. And she's a sensitive. So we were aboard the ship before Ghost Ship Harbor actually began. I think this was just a feeling out of the ship before Ghost Ship Harbor and what we were going to do as far as the guests coming aboard. And we were down in the surgery room, and we were looking in, and there are the partitions in the doorway that you can't get through, the plexiglass. And we were just both looking at each other. How are we going to get in here? And Riley said something like, Don said, I can go through the door. I don't know what you guys are doing. I get a key for the door.
Yeah, they were arguing about who was going to climb over the plexiglass.
Yeah.
And I was telling them that I could get into the back door. They just had to give me a minute.
Yeah. So while we were talking about this, later on, we played it back, and we found somebody wanted to join in the conversation. A little girl, or a teenager.
But the thing about it was, as we were talking about how to get in there, Riley said, she was going to go in there and she was going to get up on the table. She was going to put her feet in the stirrups and record for a little while and see what happened.
Oh boy.
And that's when, and right after that is when this audio was recorded.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Sorry about that, folks. Weather over here took my signal out. So.
How did you get there?
We'll loop it a couple of times.
I'm not hearing it at all. Oh,
you're not here.
Sorry.
So let's figure out why we're not hearing it. It's 100% there.
It's almost like there's just a delay. Yeah, it did play twice.
It's because it starts right at the very beginning of the clip. That's why.
Yeah.
Oh.
Goes to the machine.
Yeah, let's do it without the share and see if we can get a little better, just audio straight out. So we had the out there, but we'll play it from here.
How did you get there?
There you
Got a little better for you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, and it was almost like we were talking about how we were going to get in there, and then Riley started talking about what she was going to do, and then this young girl reminded us that we hadn't figured out how we were going to get in there yet. She said,
That's
"How would
cool.
you get there?"
Yeah.
And I mean, it's high and it's fast, but it's pretty clear. I mean,
Yeah.
it's pretty obvious. That's what she says.
Yeah, and the first thing Riley said when she went down below, she knew this girl. She felt her, and she said, "Oh, I remember you," because she had encountered the spirit the last time she was on board.
Wow.
And
so
then-
she
and
is
then
a
she got that
spirit that
EVP.
comes out a lot. Oops, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and then that's when she got that EVP not too long after talking about that. But yeah,
she's got a couple of great EVPs of this girl. I didn't send them because they're not quite as clear as some of the others, but Come Play With Me and a couple of others that are pretty good.
Have you determined about how old this child is or this girl is?
I don't know, Pat.
She
How
sounds
old
to
is
be
Lucy?
She sounds like a preteen or teen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what I always figured, 10, 11, 12.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really cool. Okay. It's so exciting when you get something just clear and just something that's just, you really can't explain it. You can't explain for sure, but you can't explain it away either. It's just, it is.
And no matter how long you've been doing this, no matter how much you've seen or heard, you still get the same feeling when you hear something like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, validation will never get old. Things like that will never get old. Yeah.
No. So what else do you have, Mike?
So the next is no.
Oh, that's Pat.
Yeah.
We call this the old standby.
Okay. Let me bring this back and play.
You'd like us investigating your ship?
Yeah, that's pretty definite.
Yeah.
No, you didn't even get to finish your sentence before he was already telling you.
No. I'll play that again.
That was actually at the time Ghost Ship Harbor was going on.
Oh, was it really?
He was just he was a little bit annoyed.
Yeah.
Definitely. And yeah, I didn't hear anything, wasn't audible. But Dawn actually brought it up the next day or short time after that and said, "Yeah, you did catch something here."
Okay. We'll play it one more time.
Your ship?
Yeah, that's pretty clear too.
Wow, that's so fast too. It's like, nope.
Oh,
yeah, he wasn't fooling around. He didn't have to think about it.
No, he wasn't.
No question about that.
No, and there's definitely something on the left side, or if you're looking at the picture, the right side of the door.
Let me bring
Just
it back
to the
up
right
again.
of the door. Yeah.
It's
Do you ever
funny
have
'cause
any activity in that doorway?
to make this a video slide, I think I just used a random picture, to be honest.
Yeah, you did.
To the right of the door.
Yeah, so if you're looking at the picture just the way we are, it's on the right side in front of that orange sticker.
Yeah.
It's almost like there's a post. It's somebody
was the whole
standing there
point
to
of this
post.
exercise to make me do this?
Hang on, let's make it a
No,
little
but you look
better.
very nice with the glasses on. Okay, I should be clear. It's nothing that you could probably see. So that's why I'm bringing it up. At first, no, but when you look at it, it is a little grainy. It is a little grainy. Well, at least to me, it looked grainy, which tells me there's something there, and I'm very drawn to that spot. So I don't know if you can see it or not. Some people say they can when I say something like that. Some people cannot. But it's I feel like there's somebody standing at post in that spot next to the door. So I don't know where that is, or what spot that is to you, if that would make sense, and it doesn't even have to be a guard, like a naval officer or whoever.
No,
it could just be a seaman. It could be anybody for whatever reason standing watch at that door.
No, but
we've had sense.
Good. It wouldn't be unusual because this is a hatch that goes up to officers' country on the ship, and chances are one of the Marine detachment would have been at that hatch.
Okay, thank you. There's a lot of energy just in that spot. Wow.
Yeah, we've had sensitives and psychics walk through the ship and say, "Hey, there's a sailor just hanging out there, just leaning, against one of the water bubblers." I think Riley said that one time. She was walking up and she said, and she saw the sailor, and he was leaning against the water bubble, and as if to say, "Hey, babe,"
Yeah.
No way. Really?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that.
That's so funny. Love it. Love it. Love it.
I remember that.
And the last one I have that you sent me was no crib.
Now, let me say something before you play this.
All right.
Okay.
All right, I got it.
So this is something else that's contextual. And what we were talking about was we were down in one of the berthing areas, BERTHING, and talking about when the babies were born on the ship, did they sleep in these same racks that the sailors slept on? And when I hear this audio, I hear the explanation, which is no cribs.
Okay.
Having said that, about half the people who hear it hear something else. Just as clearly as I say no cribs. I'm not going to tell you what, but I'll be interested to hear what you have to say.
All right. I'll play the audio, and then I'll pull up the picture with it. And it seems to work the best way. And then we'll share the screen. And we'll play it again. That was weird.
Yeah, not hearing it.
No, I don't know why it's not. That's really weird. I think it's just because it's short right at the end, so we'll just replay it right from here again. Did everybody hear that?
I heard it.
I can hear it, yeah.
Yeah. Kristie, you're muted.
Damn, I just pulled a mic.
I can try.
No, yeah, I heard something, but it wasn't no cribs. It was definitely like 4 or 5 words. And I could not make out what it was. Crap. Hold on.
Well, you're not in either.
Wait a minute. I'm going to put the other.
And Joe can hear
What's
it.
that?
Yeah.
You're not
Here,
in
hold on.
either.
I'm going to put the other earbud in so I can hear.
All right. I'm going to try it one other way and see if I can bring it up a little bit. I'll import it in here.
All right. Now I'm down to business. Let's go. Let's hear this.
All right. Hang on. I'm uploading it here.
No crib, but there was something before it.
Well, this audio is edited because before it, I'm talking.
No, it was whispered.
Riley
It
and I-
wasn't you.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
no, it wasn't you. Put my
Say that again.
no crying.
That's about 50%, about half the people that hear this say no crying.
No crying.
And I'm like, I only hear the two syllables, no cribs. That's all I hear.
No, let me try it again.
Crying.
But about half the people who listen to it say you're crazy. They say it's no crying.
Let me give it one more shot.
And I'm
Are
going to
you-
go so far as to say this too. What?
No, it's the new part of StreamYard. It was muting you when you were trying to talk.
you
because
were
we're
muted.
We're still
Oh, I was going to say, okay.
because
so I
it's
touched it this time.
like when we put up any of the other videos, the folks that
Oh.
control it from our side, it mutes
Oh,
it.
okay.
You guys in the
you
bottom.
did it. Gotcha. No.
No, the system did it.
I'm kidding. Okay, so I'm going to go so far as to say, too, when I hear that, you had 4 or 5 people down there with you that night, didn't you?
No,
Okay, I get 3 and I get 5. So I feel like
it was
there was.
Pat Riley and I. It was Pat Riley and I.
So did you have 3 to 5 people on the ship with you, and maybe it was just the 2 of you in that room at the time?
It could be.
Okay. I think it was just the 3 of us aboard the ship, but I could be wrong.
3. Okay. 3. 3. Somebody was whining about something. No crying, I'm being told, meant somebody was whining about something. Somebody you were with that night, whether they were in the room
no
with you at the
kidding.
time or not.
Oh.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe that's why. Because that's what, like I said, it's the craziest thing. The first time I played it for a group of people, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
When
That's crazy.
some of these
Yeah.
people were like, I didn't hear no cribs. I heard no crying.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny? It's so funny how that happens and how people hear different, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I guess either way, we were talking about the babies. So I guess the context was there either way. But like I said, we were talking about where the babies sleep. So I naturally went to no cribs.
So me being the debunker just had a crazy idea. Running that stuff, and I don't know if anybody's ever done it. You guys have been doing this a lot longer, and I see Joe's in here now, and he's another tech geek.
Hey, Joe.
What about running that through like Dragon voice software and see what the voice software picks up? Has anybody ever tried that?
I can't imagine.
No, not as far as I know.
What is it that you're talking about? Because I don't know what you're talking about.
There's ability you can use it on, and I just found out you can use it on Google Docs too. Is that you can, like I use voice to text from my cell phone all the time, which always comes up.
Oh, yes, we know.
Weird.
Okay.
Weird.
So you're saying you're saying to run it through and to see what popped up.
Would voice to text picks up? Does any? I mean, you guys know of anybody using that? And it's just something that popped in my head. I'm like, well, you hear this, I hear that. And how many times, you use voice to text for your phone or social media or something like that, and it picks up something crazy. What would, an auto writing voice software pick up for an EVP?
Yeah, that's a good
experiment. Yeah. We should try it.
Good question.
I think, that's going to be the next one. Because we might not be hearing the right thing, and the computer might be picking up, or running it through, because I do all the Bigfoot stuff. We run a lot of stuff through different spectrograms and that kind of thing, just to see where those things are. Because I think that's really cool. Because you and I are hearing crib, they're hearing cry, and I just played it right through. I didn't really, I knew which ones you sent, but I didn't really play them until now. Right. So.
Well, and here Joe asked this question too. Did you slow it down? Have you played with the?
Yeah, we've done that, and I've been avoiding trying to remember the audio software we use, and I can't look because I have the wrong computer. This isn't the right computer. But we have some pretty good voice software because Riley bought it, and she is the audio queen.
Yeah.
So we're running any number of different ways, and I always hear the same thing myself. But the voice to text is something we certainly have never tried to do. I gotta be completely truthful and say that in terms of software and things of that nature, I'm going the other direction, Mike.
Yep.
To be completely honest, I'm using my dowsing rods a lot more. I'm using my pendulum a lot more. I have this beautiful glass pendulum board that Danny Perez made. And I'm doing a lot more of that stuff now. When we're on the ship, when we're with a group, or when last weekend we took the opportunity to just us go aboard the ship and spend the night without having guests to shepherd around and things of that nature. And I find that everybody else is lugging the equipment, and I've got my dowsing rods and my pendulum, and I'm finding that I'm much happier using that. And maybe it's because I'm a dope and I can't keep up with with all the equipment. That could very well be part of it. But I just find that I find that my energy, I bring a lot more to the table when I use that stuff than I do, when I'm using a Melmeter or something along those lines. And we've got all that. We've got all that stuff.
I think it's the personal connection,
right?
Between you and the instrument.
That's what I think. And like I said, don't get me wrong. We've got the SLS and we've got all that equipment and we use it. But
you're confirming one for another, though, right? I mean, you're using the SLS to convey that your dowsing rods are picking up the same thing, right?
Yeah, in a lot of cases. But
the natural pull that you feel, Don, is that you're opening. It's your spirit saying it's time for more. I'm connecting in a deeper, more spiritual way. So you're really coming into your own and starting to bud with your own personal gifts. That's what that is. When you start feeling the need
I think that may be a little bit of an overstatement, but
maybe not. Because if you're naturally going that way, right? We all have it.
But I'm trying, certainly.
But
you have that brotherhood with what's on that boat, on that ship.
That's certainly part of it. There's no question about it.
100%. 100%. Yeah.
And I've seen plenty of energy healers use dowsing rods to find stuff that you can't. So if you're connected to that energy, why don't I start going down this path? I'm the guy that goes and debunks all this stuff.
You guys. Welcome to my world.
I'm clicking out of here as I get beat up by my partner.
Kristy's doing a little victory dance.
Yeah. I'm fading into the sunset.
Who are you kidding? That's awesome, though. That's a very
I don't know.
It's very special.
It is. It I feel much more of a connection now, and I'm just finding. I'll tell you this. In different scenarios, it's been a little bit more frightening. We were at the Conjuring House, and something basically asked by name how my daughter was.
Oh,
which disturbed me.
I've had that happen too.
Yeah, that wasn't something that I was very excited to hear, especially there, where I don't think that's exactly the most light and airy place I've ever been.
One word, weird. It's a weird place.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is a weird place. And we have one of our members who I gotta say was basically jammed down our throats by Ghost Ship Harbor, who turned out to be one of the best things that has ever happened to us as a group. She said a long time ago that, yeah, she thought she might have a little bit of sensitivity, but she really wasn't sure. And frankly, and I think Pat agrees. I think she's getting stronger every freaking day.
Seems like it.
And the first time we were at the Conjuring House, we left there, and I'm going to say we hadn't left. We were outside, having packed up all our gear, and she said they can say that it's something from the 1800s, or they can say that it's older, Native American or something like that. But she said, but what's here has been here for thousands and thousands of years. It's older than any of these people imagine that it is. Because we were down the cellar. I'm going to say it was maybe 4:30 in the morning. And Pat and I and Amanda were down the cellar.
Yeah.
And Pat and I were just kind of shooting the bull. And Amanda at some point said, I got to get out of here. She was very, very uncomfortable down there. And that was when she said it, when we went upstairs. Whatever's here has been here for thousands of years.
That's amazing.
Yeah. That's a dark place.
Yeah.
That's a dark place. No doubt about it.
There's definitely there's a mystery going on there. There's something there that's waiting to be found, I think.
What do you mean when you say that, waiting to be found?
Well, they talk about there being soldiers buried in the wall. 7 soldiers. It seems to come up a lot.
Yeah,
really?
That are buried. And I just feel like there's something there that just hasn't been found. That there's some mystery there that wants to be maybe revealed.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of the problem they have there, I think, is that so much of the history isn't real, and by that I mean like from the movie.
Right. People go in with certain expectations.
Most of the history that they talk about in the movie The Conjuring, most of that stuff never really happened. So I think there's a lot of digging to be done in terms of what the heck is really going on there. And that's the reason that's not a problem is because the people that are there now, Corey and Jen Heinzen and John Huntington's down there a lot, they're the right people. They're investigators and they're the real thing. So they know how to get to it. You know what I mean? And
right.
They do a great job down there. And I think that's going to be a big part of what eventually comes out in terms of what's really there.
Kind of like you want to go ahead, Kristie.
No, go ahead.
Kind of like you want to ground penetrate radar into the, use ground penetrating radar or LiDAR and really see what's on the property, Definitely. Above and beyond the house itself. And
I just saw something yesterday or the day before. Suzanne actually texted me and said, "You have got to read this." And I'm sorry, Suzanne, I haven't read it yet, but it looks like a very interesting article about how they apparently have found what they think may be a graveyard right outside the house in the backyard.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Which I got to tell you, that doesn't surprise me.
I was going to say.
I mean, that stuff gets...
That's not unusual.
Pushed over all the time.
Yeah, I think that happens a lot more, especially in more recent years than people want to admit or believe that it does. And definitely it's not going to be made public because, regardless of the time, it's still consecrated ground. It's still sacred ground. So people are not going to advertise that happened, know?
No, you're absolutely right.
That's wow. That's, it's disappointing because the movie was a good movie, but it's very sad to think that they didn't tell the real story.
No, they didn't. And like I said, I don't know if they know the real story. I know that it's kind of funny when I had said that I didn't think there was anything going on there at all. And when we went down there the first time, we were standing in the front room, and Corey and Jen were there. I don't know if John Huntington was there or not, but Corey and Jen were there, and we were standing there. We signed the wall, and next thing you know, I look, and Jen Huntington is standing right next to me, and she said, "So it's all bullshit, huh?" And I said, "Well, I don't think I really said that." And she said, "No, that's exactly what you said." And she was very cool about it, but she's right. That's what I said. And I most definitely ate my words when I left there because that is not the case.
Wow. Well,
but Pat said, there's something to be found there. I don't think anybody knows really what's going on down there.
Right. What did you think, Pat?
I thought there was some odd stuff that hasn't happened to us before. Well, specifically me, anyway, happened there. Apparently, when we were upstairs in the middle bedroom, we were sitting around the bed. I was sitting in a chair,
nodding off. You can admit it.
But I was nodding off. Yes, I had my video camera. My video camera's going up and down, but.
I'm more impressed that you could nod off in a house like that. I'm not going to lie.
It was late. So I was sitting by the doorway going into the next bedroom, and I think it was Amanda and maybe Eva both said, "Hey, what's Pat doing in the other room?" And Dawn looks at him and says, "Pat's not in the other room. Pat's been sitting there for the past 20 minutes." They said they seen me in the other room with the camera walking around, and nobody else was in the room.
Pat hadn't gotten out of that chair. He'd been in that chair for a good 20 minutes.
Well, that's usually not a good thing.
And he had a big camera because we had planned as part of our whole podcast experiment. Pat had gotten some equipment from Quincy Cable Television. And was doing a lot of filming. We were going to do a podcast episode where we brought everybody into the studio, and we had big plans that happened in March, right about when the hammer fell.
No way, really? See my light?
Yeah.
I know, right? Stupid COVID.
Oh, man.
Yeah. You know what? I think next time we're going to put a camera over the top of you so nobody can see that you're actually touching anything. That light goes on its own. And
the light goes by itself.
All I have is my cup and my cell phone right here. And that's usually to yell at whoever noise them. So that's it.
There was a question for the audience regarding the Salem. Do you guys see a lot of orbs on board?
Oh, yeah.
And I just posted a link on how you guys can find Pat and Don, as well as links for the Salem tours. So this is from Mika. She's coming in for us from Amsterdam. Micah.
There you go. I got you, girl. Don't worry.
Yeah. She loves orbs, and we're wondering if there's some on the ship.
Yeah.
There are some spaces where we have a little bit of, what I call light activity. Back in the day, we used to call them fairy lights. Just last week, and I kicked myself because I left the camera on the ship without pulling the card out. But I was videoing some of the gang in the dentist's office, and something flew by the camera that didn't look quite right to me. And I said it at the time because I saw it. And then I forgot to pull the damn card out of the camera, so I haven't had a chance to look at it. But yeah, there are some spaces on the ship where we have where we have light activity. I'm not a real big orb guy. There are just so many things that it can be. But in certain circumstances, there's certainly no denying that they defy explanation. I'll say,
yes,
no question about it. And we have them on the ship occasionally. Yeah, we do.
Yeah, but the ship is old, like a lot of these abandoned locations, and there's just a lot of dust that's floating around, and it's kind of hard to you take a photo and the flash goes off and you illuminate all these dust orbs, but it's I guess you'd have to see it and see what kind of motions it does, for
that's
it
the difference.
to be a valid orb. Yeah,
that's really the difference.
That's really the only way. I mean, a still photo of an orb, it's going to have a face in it in order to make me think it's anything other than a bug or dust. But video is a whole different ball game,
right?
Going against the wind and things of that nature.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's a lot easier looking
real
at
definitive.
video.
Yeah, real definitive things that can't happen.
I have to interrupt for 1 second. We're almost at 10 o'clock hour, so we're gonna have to sign out from WLFE DB Radio. And if you guys want to continue following us and listening to this conversation for a few more minutes, you can find us over on YouTube. Where's My Sage or Where's My Sage on Facebook. So thank you, WLFE DB Radio. I'm sorry, you guys can go back. I just had to sign out with them.
Formalities.
I'm orbed out. That was about it for me. Awesome.
What's the one old poop moment that you guys have had on the ship?
The what? What?
The
what?
The oh shit moment. You need to change your drawers and get off the boat.
Sorry, I had to make him swear at least once.
That's
Don,
like I said,
yeah. He's changed his drawers a few times.
It's not where I was going, but it's true.
Oh my gosh.
So what is that one thing? Or hasn't there been that one thing yet?
That has.
Go ahead, Pat.
Maybe when you were with Amanda, probably in the wardroom.
That's what jumps to mind. I just said to somebody the other day, somebody who was talking about seeing a shadow figure on the ship.
Ooh.
And I said, I got to be honest with you. If I never see another shadow figure again, it'll be too soon for me.
Right.
And one of the reasons for that is last season, right at the end of the season, I was with Amanda. We were in the wardroom and we had a run in with a shadow figure who literally stepped into the wardroom door and stood under the exit sign to the point where I couldn't see the bottom of the exit sign, the letters, because of its head. And,
cool.
And the way
they actually started talking to it like it was an actual person. That's how
really
much it looked like an actual person.
Initially, it had run by the door, and Amanda said, "Wow," she said, "You're the only other person I've ever seen without a flashlight go down the hallway like that." And I said, "No, he was running. I mean, I never run without a flashlight." So we chased it, and it's a ship, so it comes to a point at the front. You're familiar with that aspect. Amanda went one way, I went the other, thinking that we'd corner it. Thinking it was a guy, we'd corner it, and there was nobody there. So we went back to the wardroom and sat down, and that's when this thing happened. And it was really bad because it felt like we had a moment, me and this thing. And I didn't like it. That is an understatement.
Okay.
I was unnerved beyond being unnerved. And the funny thing is, the way that episode ended was we heard a guy coming down the hallway, coming down the passageway towards us. And I said to Amanda, that's perfect because wherever this guy is coming from is where that other guy went. We know he didn't go up a ladder because we would have heard it. But wherever this guy is coming from is where that other guy went. And there was nobody there. And those footsteps were so clear and loud, it literally never even crossed my mind that it wasn't the guy coming down the hall.
Right.
I mean,
right.
I never even gave it a second thought.
Wow.
That it wasn't a guy. And that was a bad night. That was a bad night. I can honestly say I was unnerved the rest of the night. And,
do you think
and the next time I went back, I just, like I say, felt we had a moment is the only way I can put it into words, but it was worse than that. And I didn't like it. And I mean it. The next time I see a shadow figure, I'm going to go the other way. And I've never done that before. But I very seriously would do it this time.
Hey, we have to be humble enough to know our limits. And again, it's that consideration and that respect, to know there are lines sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's nothing wrong with that,
Absolutely. But Pat knows, we've all had moments aboard the ship where you find yourself saying, what the hell was that? Where did that come from?
And that's kind of what I was looking for more than, it's not always the worst of the worst.
No.
It's that eye-opening, like, I can't explain what just happened in front of me, no matter how I try to recreate it, do whatever I do.
Those are the things that make you go back. I mean,
yeah,
right.
I feel like as long as we've been doing this, I feel like a dope saying it, but I always get a kick out of the cat balls lighting up.
Oh yeah, I mean, no lie. Yeah,
it's like a silly little thing, but I always get a kick out of the goddamn cat.
Sure, the flashlights go off. K2s go crazy. Absolutely. Yeah.
And we've been fortunate enough to have some pretty strong groups aboard the ship. As I said, Chris Sanders was there not long ago, is coming back. Mary Jo Chudley and Penn Paranormal were there not long ago. And
awesome.
we've had some really, Willie Hassel and his gang from Connecticut, New Hampshire were there recently. We've had some really great groups, and we've developed relationships with these people that they don't mind us tagging along. I mean, we make it clear to them that it's their ship. It's their investigation. We'll be as involved or uninvolved as they want us to be. But most of them are pretty cool about us. They know us well enough that they know we're not going to be a problem. And so we've been fortunate enough to see some pretty wild stuff with those gangs. Just it's been a great season all in all.
I'm so glad to hear that. Really, I'm so glad. I need more positive with this year.
You're guardians of a very important piece of American history.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we look at it that way.
My follow-up on the shadow figure, was that recent or is that farther off where maybe they've realized that you have become a piece of the ship, a fixture of the ship itself? And like I said, a guardian or protector of that.
That was actually fairly recent.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it was
interesting.
It was.
So.
Wow.
I was hoping you were going to say it the other way around, and
I know. I hear you. And
to the conclusion that you are there, and folks. I mean that's a big thing is that these gentlemen and their group are keeping a piece of American history afloat.
Yeah.
So I put in the contacts for their group. I put the contacts in for the experience, getting out there and getting on the ship itself. So again, it's helping keep a piece of American history afloat. So
really is, and we don't
before we completely forget that's the big thing. You guys are helping to keep history, and thank you both for your service.
Yes, thank you very much for your service.
Thank you for bringing it up, and I always like to make sure it's clear to everybody that all of the money that comes from our tours goes to the ship. We don't, every penny that we collect on these tours goes to the care and preservation of Salem.
That's awesome.
That we don't make any money or keep any money. Everything goes to the ship. They're in pretty dire straits, and they need all the help we can get. And that's why it's been such a great year. As of right now, November 14th is our last public investigation of the season, and we are sold out right up until then.
Wow.
We haven't been able to schedule these things fast enough. Honestly.
I'm so glad to hear that. That's so nice.
Yeah.
So
great. That could be part of COVID too.
Yeah.
Because the haunted house is maybe not being open, and people wanting to experience the true paranormal.
That could be.
What I'm asking from our viewers and our listeners, share this episode, because this, I sound like a PBS commercial right now, but
you kind of do.
Yeah, but it's I've got a background in archaeology and anthropology, and I have so much respect for our servicemen and women. Putting that, and God, I love the water. I mean, you guys know that's a big part of my life. I did dive recovery for years. Putting that piece of history there for future generations is so important. I know what Kristie talked about with the ships in Buffalo, and I had a chance to get on a Coast Guard vessel and be right next to those things. It's all inspiring, and the respect for those men and women that served on that boat is very, very important. So please share this episode, get it out there, because people will know about the Salem and can help these guys, help the Salem, because there's tours of the boat during the day, correct?
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
Pat said it earlier. It is a great take. Yeah. The museum spaces are beautiful, and just wandering around, and the self-guided tours. So just wandering around the ship, it is really something to see. I mean, it really is.
Sure. It's great for kids too.
And there's a lot of ships. Yeah. There's a couple other ships right there in the harbor, correct? Or is the Salem the main?
The Salem is it. The Salem is the centerpiece of the United States Naval Shipbuilding Museum.
But you're close to Boston. You're close to Salem, right? I mean, I think of nothing, because when I go on an investigation, it's 4 to 5 hours wherever I'm going to go. And we look at everything.
Right. Yeah, okay, I can see that.
And everything, Boston. It's a tea party. Get to the coast. Get to the salt water. But please, I don't mean to sound like that, and I appreciate both of you guys keeping that history alive.
Well, we appreciate you selling it like that, Mike, because it means a lot to us. And I need to. I always like to say that I am maybe the most fortunate guy in this whole field, because the truth is the Salem is my obsession, and I have been fortunate enough to hook myself up with people who have been obliging and who have been faithful and loyal enough that they have basically allowed me to drag them along. And I don't know how the hell any of this would be possible without those guys.
Aww.
Without Pat and the rest of the guys. It's the truth.
That's beautiful.
And one more plug for these guys. I met Don and some of his team members at Hinsdale the night I met Kristie. So,
historic night right there.
Yeah, it really and truly is. And I know I sound like a mumbling, but it's day 2 back to work after not working for 3 months. So I apologize tonight if I sounded like a blah 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 blah. But up at 4, and
worse than normal.
I'm not going to get up for the 11 o'clock. But their team is an amazing team. I mean, my team got to work with them. We were there with another investigator who was doing his pushing his book, and so it was a special invite kind of thing. So
yeah, it was.
That means a lot that we all came together on that night, and we're here again. And I think we're brought together for this ship. So guys, get out there and support. Get this word out there. And there's a lot of other. I mean, there's a couple. You guys have done a couple of shows. I mean, on the Salem. So I mean, there's stuff out there. And in fact, the episode your guys
something big coming.
Oh, can't wait.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think. What was this?
Most terrifying places.
Yes, most terrifying places. Not only is that a messed up episode, because I'm going to tell you why it's a messed up episode. Because it's also the Virgin House is the other half of the episode, and it's the only house I
Mike's
will
favorite
not
house.
walk into. I spent an entire summer there helping out, outside stuff, and I've seen stuff that I cannot explain. Really? I won't go in the house. Yeah, I will not. I get within 5 foot of that house, and I can feel a temperature change. I've seen shadows on that house. That I've done the whole get flashlights, video cams, the whole bit, and I will not go that house.
Really?
But it's ironic that house is on the same episode.
Yeah, it's on the same episode as us.
I have people that I have worked with that spent time in the house as kids, and you bring that up, and they start. I mean, these are big, burly guys. They start crying and watch the hair on their arms pop. Yeah, I mean, literally. They know stuff about that house.
Wow.
TV makes it out to be one way, but these are guys I know personally, so it's just ironic that those two things are on the same episode. So, you guys want to see some beautiful footage? Go. Both the websites and pages are great.
And then,
all right, I'm going to shut up on my soapbox here.
October 30th, Sam Beltrusta says his, what is it? His film festival, his COVID film festival, and the first film being shown is a documentary shot by Willie Hassel called "The Soul of the Sea Witch," which is about the Salem, and it's great because it's it's us, but it's also a couple of the ship's volunteers who are there, working on the weekends. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know where he went.
Twilight Zone.
Well, but it's some of the ship's volunteers who aren't part of the paranormal stuff, but who are there working their butts off on the ship all the time. And, some of those guys are included. It's a really, 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 really good film. Willie worked very hard, and that's where the drone footage came from.
And the drone footage is from our friend Alex over at Sasquatch, Beyond the Shadows.
And it's the opening credits of Soul of the Sea Witch is the drone.
Pat is not connected. Awesome. Must be have a bad cell signal.
Yeah.
So anything else, Don, you want to wrap up? We've kind of put that in there. Maybe Pat will sneak back. It looks like he's getting half.
There he is.
Let's bring him back here.
Mike will tell you.
One back, Pat. Wait, yikes.
So is there anything you guys that we might have missed? I mean, like I said, I really wanted to push the history. I mean, there's just, I'm sure, a lot.
No, you really did a great job, and we really appreciate it.
Aww.
You feel kind of funny saying, we really want to sell the ship, but it's for a good reason, and we feel pretty good about it.
There are so many places that really need the love and support. They have so many stories to tell, things we don't even know are going to surface yet. And I think it's our jobs, right, to try to help make that happen.
Yeah, I agree. And the good thing is, that's happening more, I think. It's happening up in Hinsdale. Danny Clace, the way he manages what goes on up at Hinsdale. I mentioned the Heinzens down in Harrisville at the Conjuring House. It's happening more and more that, it's not a company that runs this stuff.
Right.
But they're investigators.
Exactly.
We're on the Salem, and not only do we appreciate the ship and its history, but we know what the hell we're doing too. and we know how to treat the ship right from a paranormal standpoint, and we don't, because we're investigators. When a group books the ship, they're booking at 7 to midnight, but we're not going to pull the plug at midnight if things are jumping.
That's awesome.
We wouldn't appreciate anybody doing it to us. And,
right.
And we're there. That's what we're there for. What the hell would you stop if things were going? You know what I mean? And it's not there's anybody waiting. Yeah. It's not like there's anybody waiting in line behind you. So we're going to keep going.
Well, you guys are in it for the right reasons, and you're doing it for the right reasons. And, it's important. You're genuine, and we need more of that. Like you said, more and more people are starting to do things like that. And it's so important so we can get the stories out there and help spirit tell their sides of things and share things, because that otherwise would never be known.
Yeah, no, you couldn't be more right. Pat's gone, so.
Yep. All right. Well, we ran a little over, and again, thank you so much for your time and Patrick's time.
Yes, thank you so much.
We hope to get there soon.
Yes.
Thank you guys for.
Hopefully, we can't wait. If there's anything we can do to help, if you ever do a fundraiser or anything, please let us know. I'd be more than happy. And I'm sure we would be more than happy to be there and support it.
We're gonna have to figure out how to. We're again very fortunate. We've had a lot of people offer to give us a hand, and we haven't taken advantage of it just because we're dopes. But we'll figure it out.
Yes, you will. You will.
We'll figure it out, and maybe next season we'll try to get something big going. And
that's wonderful.
And maybe you guys might even find your way down to the ship.
I hope so. Time is right. We will definitely be there for sure. And thank you for your donation for Brian as well. That means a lot.
Geez. That's nothing.
Really appreciate it.
That is absolutely nothing. Okay, guys.
All right.
So thank you very much. Night, Don. And Pat, thank you so much for being with us. I'm sorry we lost you, but it was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
All right, guys. Take care of yourselves. Thanks again. Bye.
Bye-bye. Wow. Pretty awesome, huh?
Yes. So
much.
We ran a little over, but it's a big piece of American history, and let's get out there, guys. Like I said, please, if you're coming in now, I mean, I know I didn't, and I'll put something on the beginning. Please like and share. We always ask for that for all our episodes, but this one is a piece of American history. Let your friends, let your family know about it. If you're on that Northeast coast, try to swing up and take a look. I mean, like we've been trying almost a year now to get up there, and it just is
2 years. Yeah, 2 years at a time, man. I know it's crazy.
I've known you too long. This is just bad. So next week, who do we have? We have Mark next week.
We have Mark Keys of Pennsylvania Paranormal Association. And Mark has been all over. He's been on Most Terrifying Places, Travel Channel, Destination America. He is a former state trooper for Pennsylvania and has an extensive history and a lot of experience in doing different things. He's got a lot to share. He's also written some books, and he started his own t-shirt line. And then the following week, we are going to do spirit messages with me. So we'll do readings. And then the week after that.
You know what? We can sneak it in there.
Can we?
I think so. I mean, you haven't done the advertisement yet, but he's already told us he's coming on. So keep your appetites available for November 10th. It's hidden at the end. So only the cool people that hang out with us know what's going on. Chef Jatila is going to come visit us from the Food Network.
Yay!
So
excited. And he's going to talk about what?
We're going to talk about superstition in food and his paranormal experiences. And he and I have been talking back for the last couple of months. He's one of those guys that helped me get through, like you guys, while I was recovering from surgery. So, again, next week, come tune in, 8 o'clock. Please like, share, subscribe. Push that subscribe button because we've got some surprise shows coming up soon now that I'm up and moving again. And some surprise investigations. Yes. So if you want to be notified of us doing things, especially on YouTube, because Facebook doesn't tell you anything anymore. They keep changing everything.
Awful.
Hit and subscribe. Please share. God bless.
And thank you. And again, if anyone is interested, I just have to sneak this in here quick. If anyone is interested in purchasing a bracelet and or donating to the family, perfect. Thank you, Michael. We will post this information on our Facebook page, and it would greatly help someone who's very special to us, who has just been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. So the family would much appreciate it. So would I. And if you are not comfortable reaching out to the family, you can certainly reach out to me, and I will make sure they get your information. All right. So I think that's it.
That's it.
This was a great show. Again, as always, thank you for joining us and tuning in. We appreciate every single one of you. Until next week, stay safe and sample on.
See you guys.
Good night.